Good looks is only one objective when making transformations and upgrades to any space. But when designed right, your kitchen should cook well too. Today we're with celebrity chef Laura of Celebrated Cuisine. Laura, what's on the menu today?
Today's menu includes pan-seared scallops, sweet and spicy, with an Asian-influenced apricot glaze over a coconut jasmine rice cake.
Holy cow.
It's delicious.
I know, I can smell it. It smells great. And before we get into how you prepped this meal, what went into this meal, share with us a little bit about what's going on with Celebrated Cuisine.
Well, Celebrated Cuisine has been very busy these days doing a lot of private fine dining events, which has been exceptionally fun for me because my favorite thing to do are the multi-course dinner parties that we do. We do a lot of wine pairings with them, so to learn more about what you can do with food and wine is always very exciting for our clients.
Right.
In addition to that, we've been doing your standard graduation parties, a few bachelorette parties here and there. Those are always interesting.
Those are good.
Yes.
We're right in the midst of those.
Exactly. And a lot of culinary instruction.
Right.
So that has been really fun, plus the cruise ship thing that I told you about.
I was just going to say, I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah.
I thought if she didn't mention the fact that she's a chef on a cruise ship right now, then I was going to have to give it at you.
It's kind of funny. I'm considered the entertainment. So when you're at sea and there's not much for you to do, you come and watch a culinary show with Chef Laura.
Oh, that's very cool. I think that that is awesome. I'm hoping to catch one of those cruises with you. I keep hinting to be invited or to go talk design tips.
I will add you to the list. Yeah. Oh, actually, you know, they would probably be interested in something like that.
That's a good idea. Well, before we go into how I'm going to get on that cruise ship, tell us how you prepare this dish today.
So this dish is actually 3 different parts. So the first thing I did was I started with the coconut jasmine rice. I heat up a little bit of oil in a saucepan. Once the oil was hot, I added the rice to the pan first, and I let the oil basically coat the grains of the rice. And actually, since I'm using jasmine rice, you could smell the fragrance. It was absolutely fantastic. Once you smell that, you add, in this case, coconut milk and a little bit of water, and you just bring it to a simmer, cook it covered for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
I folded in some sweetened coconut, a little bit of kosher salt for seasoning, and that's it. Put it into a long pan and let it set up so that I could actually cut it into a shape.
Right.
So that was part 1.
We used square.
I used a square cutter for this today.
But you could use any shape, because you basically just use a cookie cutter.
I used a cookie cutter. Yep, I used a square one. You could use round, you can make a heart shape, a daisy, whatever makes you happy.
Okay.
The second part of the dish that I made is the sauce. So the sauce, again, heat up a small saucepan, add a little bit of oil to that, and then to that I cooked the ginger and my garlic first. When that was aromatic, I was able to add my red jalapeno, also known as a Fresno, and then I deglazed the pan with some mirin, which is a Japanese rice wine.
Right.
Once that had basically evaporated, I added some apricot preserves, and I really look hard to find organic apricot preserves because they don't have the addition of corn syrup in them.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's really, really good for you then too. Much better for you. And then I just finished the dish with a little bit of one of my favorite ingredients, as you know, which is sriracha. And that gives it some kick in addition to the red jalapeno.
Right. So the scallops then.
Very straightforward on the scallop.
And what I want you to really, because I think I found out today that scallops have feet.
Well, they have a little muscle on them. We call it a foot sometimes, but it's the little piece that attaches the scallop to the shell. You want to remove. And most scallops, the sea scallops, a lot of times it falls off in the processing and getting it to market, but otherwise you'll notice it on the scallop. It's a little discolored, and you just peel that off very gently and throw it away. You don't need that. And then also you want to make sure your scallops are bone dry before you cook them. Otherwise they'll leach out a lot of liquid in the pan, and it basically dilutes the whole cooking process and takes away from your possibility for caramelization. So all I did was dry them off, and I dredged them on one side in crushed pepper, seared it in a pan with no oil or anything, took that out of the pan, dredged the other side in sugar, put that back in the pan, sugar side down, till the sugar caramelized, and by that point the scallop is cooked. It really only takes about 4 or 5 minutes to cook a great scallop.
Right.
And then using the cooktop, something about induction, I have to tell you, I'm having a minor love affair with induction because it's instantly hot. It's very easy to control the grades and temperature, and I love the fact that the actual burners aren't hot unless the pan is sitting on there.
Right, right. So you had a lot of things going on here, and your rice. That's the other thing when you get ready to make your rice. You had your water ready to go. Everything was ready to go.
It was so fast. I don't think I've ever cooked rice that fast in my life. The response was tremendous. So I've always enjoyed using the Thermador cooktop, and today was no exception.
It was very fun to watch and still fun to smell, and I'm anxious to taste it. The presentation of this is very clean and simple, and I know the actual meal is healthy. It's organic, if you will, and it's very fresh. and very similar to the kitchen that we're standing in right now. This is a green design kitchen. It's very simple, very fresh, very clean, very energizing. There's been some great elements brought into this kitchen design, such as the bamboo cabinetry, the silestone counters, the LED lighting. The actual design of the kitchen, we're in an actual vignette, but this is absolutely a design you would put into an actual home. As far as the layout of the kitchen, the footprint, the accessibility and the easeability of it, what are your thoughts as a professional chef on how this kitchen actually cooked for us today?
One of the things I look for as a professional chef when I'm cooking, even in my clients' kitchens, okay, is, as you said, accessibility.
Right.
So for me to be able to reach into the refrigerator and put everything I need right down on the counter and then have it in very close access to where I'm actually going to be cooking is paramount. I don't want to be making a lot of laps around the kitchen.
Exactly.
And then in turn, a lot of times what we will do is we'll sear something and then finish it in the oven. So to be able to turn right around and have the oven right there, and again, not be running laps around the kitchen is a good thing.
Thank you so much, Laura. So tell us how we can find you at Celebrated Cuisine.
You can find me online at celebratedcuisine.com or Chef Laura at celebratedcuisine.com. And if you go to our website, you'll find out about cooking classes, you'll find out about some of the events that we're doing, some of the volunteer things that we do as well, menus, sample recipes, all kinds of good stuff.
Great. That sounds wonderful. So if you want to learn any more about Chef Laura, Celebrated Cuisine, or the beautiful meal that she prepared for us today, you can do so by visiting us at finewineanddesign.com. Don't go away. We have the hottest trends in green living right after this.
Take a look into the world of talented designers, wine connoisseurs, and celebrity chefs as they transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Whether it's a kitchen in need of a makeover with appliances by Thermador or a meal that cries out for the perfect wine pairing, let Fine Wine and Design take you to new and exciting destinations. Tune in and taste the good life Wednesday nights at 7:30 on Cox 7 Arizona or right now on channel 2644.
Not only is going green a hot trend in fine wine and design,
it's the key to conscious living.
We've been working with laminated bamboo for a couple years now in all of our drawers. And what I wanted to use was something that was as recyclable as it gets. We used 3 different types of bamboo. So natural bamboo in the drawers, Carmenlized bamboo on the island, and the dark bamboo on some of the panels. We wanted to build with bamboo because it's so sustainable. It's a grass and not a wood, so we're not knocking down any rainforest trees. Grass grows about 2 feet a day, so I don't think it gets much more sustainable than building with grass when it's extremely dense and very beautiful. Not only is it sustainable, but it's also affordable. And the other thing that we specialize in at Woodesign are curves. We do a lot of curves in our furniture and in our cabinetry. So we've taken the opportunity to curve the bamboo island panel and the back panel behind me. Not seen a lot of people curve bamboo lately. The bamboo reps were a little amazed that that could be done. I'm very pleased to be working with Megan at Allstate Appliance. She gave us a great opportunity here, kind of center stage in the showroom. That's why we chose this design, to kind of curve folks down the showroom floor into the display. Of course, the main thing that we're trying to show here, besides a beautiful kitchen, are appliances. And we want people to be able to come in, feel free to get behind the appliances, work them. Most of these appliances are hot. They're all wired, ready to go. You can use them. And that was one of the other concepts to the main design.
Like Allstate Appliance, I like to bring my knowledge and wine expertise to provide the best experience for my customers. All right, Denise, we finally get to try this wine. Before we do that, I want to talk about what we see on this label right here. First of all, it says made with organic grapes. All right, so what they're saying here is the wine's not organic, but the grape growing process was. You can even go further than organic farming to biodynamic farming, which basically is like praying to the soil. But organic farming is basically using no pesticides, and if you do have issues like critters that are invading your crop, you're going to use other critters that are the predators of that. And so it's really interesting that you can use nature as your defense, but that's what organic grape growing is.
And so speaking of the pairing, you specifically chose this wine, and not, I mean, it's obviously an organic wine. We're in a green kitchen. It's very light, just as the kitchen design is, just as the dish itself is. But there's more than the looks of the wine. There's a reason that you chose this wine to pair with this dish, so tell us what that is.
Because of what Chef brought to the table today, I get to knock this out of the park as far as the pairing goes, because there's two pairing principles that are going to apply here. First of all, using the pairing principle of like with like, we have the similar characteristics of the food complementing the characteristics of the wine. So slightly sweet wine with a slightly sweet sauce, like with like. Then we have my favorite pairing principle is going to be heat with sweet. So Chef used the fresh cracked pepper in the process of cooking the scallops, and then the sauce has the red chili pepper in it. So there's two different types of heat there, and plus the sriracha as well. And
then the spice.
Yeah, and so if you, depending on how much you want to dabble into the bite that you're eating, you can measure that yourself.
Okay.
You can actually take the sweetness of this wine to contradict the heat. And then you can take the heat of this food, the spice of the food, to kind of like mellow out the sweetness of the wine. And you end up tasting the spicy flavors without feeling the spicy flavors, without it actually, hurting your palate.
Right. Well, I'm excited to try it.
Cool. Right, before we do that, let's talk about this refrigerator real quick, the Thermador wine cooler. What I love about this cooler is it's got dual zones. You want to store your wines at the right temperature.
Right.
And this refrigerator is structured to not only chill your reds and your whites, but also has a way for long-term storage as well. All right, are you ready to try this?
I am.
We've been I can't wait.
Looking at this for a while.
So let's go ahead, and once we taste it, when we swallow, and then we're going to make sure that when we taste the wine, that we're going to have that wine touch every part of our mouth. All right?
Okay, so. Chef Laura, fabulous job.
Yeah, one more bite, Chef Laura, for me.
That is fabulous.
All right, now let's put your hand over the top, give it a swirl, and then lift right as you bring it up to your nose. Okay. There's not any bullying going on the palate. There's no out of balance characters that are stepping up.
Okay.
The sweet is complemented by the sweet of the food, not drying out the wine, which is what could have happened if it was too dry of a wine. And then that heat, if you notice, now you can actually taste the chili peppers for what they are rather than feel them.
So although the wine didn't diminish the flavor of the dish, for those of us that love spicy foods, we still held on to the spice, but we lost the heat, if you will.
Right, hence the harmony of wine and food.
Absolutely. So to learn more about David, teaching wine online, and today's pairing, visit us at finewineanddesign.com. Cheers, and cheers to Allstate.
And let the party begin.